Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Carunews, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarocar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan and Organ Donation India Foundation. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's topic is not only current, but very, very relevant. And the topic is science of aging. But before I will go to our main topic, I would like to inform you that today world is observing World Wildlife Day. On 20th December 2013, at its 68th session, the United Nations General Assembly proclaimed 3rd March the day of signature of the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora in 1973 as UN Wildlife Day, to celebrate and raise awareness of the world's wild animals and plants. World Wildlife Day will be celebrated in it's celebrated every year with different themes as a way to highlight the central role of forests, forest species and ecosystem services in sustaining the livelihoods of hundreds of millions of people globally, and particularly of indigenous and local communities with historic ties to forested and forest adjacent areas. Media conference with Lal Goel wish you all a very happy World Wildlife Day. And today also the other day is World Hearing Day. World Hearing Day is a campaign held each year by Office of Prevention of Blindness and Deafness of the World Health Organization, WHO. Activities take place across the globe, and an event is hosted at the World Health Organization on March 3rd. The campaign's objective are to share information and promote actions towards the prevention of hearing loss and improved hearing care. The first event was held in 2007. Before 2016, it was known as International Ear Care Day. Each year, the WHO selects a theme, develops educational material, and makes these freely available in several languages. It also coordinates and reports on events around the globe. The theme of World Hearing Day 2022 is To Hear for Life, Listen with Care. Media conference with Lal Goel hopes that by observing this day, more and more awareness will be created so that hearing loss can be prevented. Now, coming on the main topic, the science of aging. Aging, progressive psychological changes in an organism that lead to a decline of biological functionings and of the organism's ability to adapt to metabolic stress. Science of aging, or gerontology, is the study of the social, cultural, psychological, cognitive, and biological aspects of aging. The word was coined by 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 in 1903 from the Greek geron, old man, and study of. The field is distinguished from geriatrics, which is the branch of medicine that is specialized in the treatment of existing diseases in older adults. Gerontologists include researchers and practitioners in the field of biology, nursing, medicine, criminology, dentistry, social work, physical and occupational therapy, psychology, psychiatry, sociology, economics, political science, architecture, geography, pharmacy, public health, housing, and anthropology. The multidisciplinary nature of this gerontology means that there are a number of subfields which overlap with gerontology. There are policy issues, for example, involved in government planning and the operation of nursing homes, investigating the effects of an aging population on society, and the design of residential spaces for older people that facilitate the development of a sense of place or home. Dr. Lawton, a behavioral psychologist at the Philadelphia Geriatric Center, was among the first to recognize the need for living spaces designed to accommodate the elderly, especially those with Alzheimer's disease. As an academic discipline, the field is relatively new. The USC Leonard Davis School of Gerontology created the first PhD, master's and bachelor's degree program in gerontology in 1975. And to discuss this very, very important topic today, the science of aging, we have a very knowledgeable panelists are with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest. He is Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand is the senior psychiatrist marriage counselor. Dr. Rajiv Anand passed his MBBS in 1976 and did MD in psychiatry in 1980 from King's George Medical College, Lucknow. He opted to serve his country when it was very common to settle abroad for brighter future. He has been serving society with his base in Mumbai. He has clients all over India as well as in many other countries. He was honored with Lifetime Achievement Award by AMA. He has conducted more than 3,000 workshops for different groups and companies with audience size of 10 to 800. His television program on various channels have been widely appreciated for his forthright and practical approach. He is leading in the field of mental and emotional well-being for 41 years. He was president of IMA for 2 times. He was interviewed in several talk shows domestically and internationally. Welcome, Dr. Rajiv Anand on our show. Dr. Rajiv Anand, as I read about the science of aging, and it very clearly mentioned that it is very much related with the psychiatry or psychology. So definitely you are the main person who can highlight this more about the science of aging. Dr. Rajiv Anand, please.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Lal. Thank you for the introduction. I believe I'm audible clearly.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Welcome, Mr. Prabhad, who is a dynamite in energy, dynamo in energy. Always producing energy. I learned a lot from him, how to remain young, how to remain energetic. So is with Gita, who is a role model for thousands of people in Ahmedabad, and so is Vivek Joshi, who would love to be called youngest among all of us. Vivek, you are still in 30s. Good, I know that you are not, but Vivek is the youngest. So, well, this topic about science of aging fascinates everyone. None of us want to become old so fast, but we are becoming. Anything which is born is getting old, and we can't help it totally. We are scared of getting old. Everybody is scared of getting aged and old, while the aging process is inevitable. Why Mr. Lal has decided to settle on the topic of the science of aging. Aging itself is a complex topic. We are adding science to it. Till about 100 years back or 200 years back, the world was divided into different places, different islands, not so easily connected to each other. So if somebody had a good experience of good diet to live long in an island in Japan, other part of the world couldn't know. For some Mediterranean diet were being seen as very healthy diet to increase the longevity of the life and for a healthy living. The millions of people in the world could not know because there was no medium. Then gradually the science evolved, technology evolved, the internet evolved in the recent 2.5 decades, 3 decades. And whatever an individual or a group of individuals or a section of society was experiencing could be spread to other part of the world, to the other section of the society, to the other countries. And whenever anything can be replicated without any bias by other group of people, and the similar findings are found or similar results are found, then it becomes part of a science. I may say individually sitting in one corner of the world that I take 10 glasses of water and I feel young. That may be my individual experience. But if there are 200 people or 500 people or 5,000 people or 5 lakh people who say, yes, 10 glasses of water is healthy for every individual, then that becomes part of science. So today we are talking about the science or the scientific aspect of aging. We have to accept we are carrying a body. We know the name Rajiv, Prabhad, Gita, Vivek. We don't know or we don't realize that that name is just a filmy name. The moment we are out of this world, name would disappear. We are carrying a highly evolved technological body. Highly technologically evolved a machine which is working around the clock, of which we are the owner, of which we are the master. And we have control on it up to some extent to manage it. And what exactly I mean by it? By remaining scared of the old age, by remaining scared of the death, which most people are, because fear all over the world is death. By remaining scared about hospitalization and major diseases, one doesn't help himself. Even the third wave has not settled down completely. People are talking about the fourth wave. I heard from Canada, some people are talking about fourth wave. I heard from local people in Bombay, fourth wave. Isn't that totally misplaced? Everybody become messenger, everybody become a spreader of the negative news, the fearful news. And every one of us grab it left, right, center. Whole newspaper is full of negative news. So let's first look into, do I know enough about aging process? Am I ready to learn a little more? If I am, then I'm ready to control my life up to a great extent. God has empowered us. Nature has empowered us. That's why I admire people who are close to the nature. They are lucky, they are billionaire by themselves if they're close to the nature. They may not have tons of money in the bank account, but they have tons of nature to help them live joyfully. So back to scientific aspect of it, I think those who may not have read on this topic need to know that how many cells this highly evolved technological machine called body, how many cells it does have? 30 trillion cells. To me also 1 trillion wouldn't make sense how much it is. I may know 1,000, I may know lakhs, I may know crores, but what trillion does make it? So if I draw a figure of 30, after that I write 30 again, 30 I write, and then I write 30 and then again 30 and then again 30 and again 30. Means 12 after 30. That would make 30 trillion cells in the body. And out of this 30 trillion cells in the body, they are not static, they are not static. They are constantly changing. So every day, almost 330 billion cells are dying every day. Natural process, not a disease process, dying every day. Fortunately, the good aspect or the good news or the silver lining is that almost 3.3 million cells get produced every day. Most of them, they are blood cells. But 3.3 million cells get produced every day. So as long as this dying cells and new cells, balance is there. Even though technically the number of dying cells would remain more than the number of new cells, relatively. Yet the body is capable of constantly manufacturing new cells. Now, as long as we keep on offsetting this degenerating cells with our capacity to regenerate cells, we are healthy. We have a sound posture. We maintain good walk. We maintain good muscle tone. We maintain all parts functioning optimally. But when we don't supervise it, as happen in most of the cases, or when we abuse our system by excessive food, or excessive sleep, or excessive rest, or other kind of toxins, or the kind of various other addictive substances, then we expedite the rate of degeneration. And we also influence adversely the rate of regeneration. So there is an imbalance. Larger number of cells dying, lesser number of cells getting manufactured. So we expedite the process of aging. That's why there are people who are in 40s, but they look in 60s. And vice versa also. There are people who are in 60s or in 70s, they look much younger because they maintain their body. The science of aging is a very, very simple way of learning how we can delay the process of aging by adopting simple methods. Now, even though we are the owner of this machine called body, but there's no direct thing we can do that we can open something and with the tools in our hand, we can correct it. No, it's not that process. We have a far more sophisticated process. And this is what, in a very brief time, I'm going to talk about in a very simple language, which would help almost everyone who is listening to this program for years to come. Even those of us who have come in 60 age, yet we have another 20 years, we can make our life far better. Mr. Lal is a live example of it. Mr. Prabhad is a live example of it. They are living life beautifully, healthily. Is it too difficult to attend to a simple suggestion that 5 minutes we close our eyes and we stop looking, we stop saying 5 minutes. We give rest to the body, we give rest to the eyes, we give rest to the optical nerve, we rest to the occipital lobe. We have this sensation from the retina gauge. 5 minutes. So 5 minutes we give rest to that part of sensation load, which constantly going through the eyes, and a huge load goes. I'm not ready with the data, but it's amazing data. How many millions of sensory input goes through the eyes, and the brain is constantly working at that. You get a newspaper one, if you get 10 newspaper every day, how much time you would take to read it or go through it or flip through the pages or organizing it, where to keep it? And God forbid, if you have 100 paper coming to your home, you will have a big mess to arrange, where to keep it, where to park it, where to read it, where to store it, how to get rid of it. So the brain is receiving millions of sensations. 5 minutes, at least 4 times in a day, eyes closed. What are you doing? I would explain to the purpose of it. Similarly, 5 minutes, you can put some earplug in your ear. I keep on doing my own way of research, how it helps. And I do plenty of experience or experiments before I speak. Last few days, I've been experimenting with the earplugs. I bought one, I bought second, I bought third. And the third one is the best. I put last night in my ear and slept with the open window with the traffic noise, which I've never done in the last 28 years of being in this flat. Yet I slept 95% noise eliminated. I had a totally sound-free sleep. And I can do it in the daytime also. Earplugs, even cotton buds, may not be that efficient, but any earplug. So 5 minutes experimented, no sensation through the ears. 5 minutes, no sensation to the eyes, separate, till now, separate for ears. 5 minutes, I will not move my body. I will not move my body. I would stay still as best as possible. As best as possible. 5 minutes separately, I will not talk. I will not talk any word. Is it too difficult a task to keep quiet 5 minutes? Let's begin with 5 minutes of each. Stopping seeing, separate time. Stopping listening, separate time. Stopping moving your body, separate time. Stopping talking anything, separate time. And then gradually merge them. At the same time, you will neither move body, you will neither see, you will never hear, nor you will talk. Same time. So once you have 4 wheels, these 4 sensations, stabilize or make them still, then your 5th one, the thought process, which is running at a speed of huge speed, almost 300 thoughts per minute, 60,000 thoughts in 24 hours. So that will become less. And the moment that curtain of thought static goes down, you get access to something which all of us have heard about, but have not understood that deeply, which I am learning for last almost 45 years extensively reading. I began reading on the subject way back in 69 and reading continuously every day beside my academic. Then you get access to the higher level of consciousness. Higher level of consciousness, the word, all of us have heard about it. Of course, there are various gurus, various programs, various new age gurus, various places where this is packed and repacked and sold at different kind of MRP and that higher level of consciousness. But the fact is that you have possibility of accessing that higher level of consciousness, which is running your body, which is making your heart palpate, which is making your blood run, which is making every part of your body function optimally. We are not aware about it. But right now, everything happening in the body, right from digestion of the breakfast, which we took half an hour back, or the blood circulation, or the making of the urine, or making of whatever else, we all are slightly less conscious about. A beautiful system body is being run by that higher consciousness, which come to us subtly, digitally. This word wouldn't have been easily acceptable till 20 years back, or 15 years back. Now we all have Bluetooth. Whole music stream is passing through Bluetooth. Invisible, intangible, but everything is reaching, my voice is reaching to you by Bluetooth. No wire, no touch. Similarly, the heart conscious energy is going to us, getting downloaded without being aware through that technology. And we can have reasonably control on that, and we can enhance on that. Why I say my gratitude to Mr. Prabhad and why I'm fascinated by his lifestyle, he loves nature. I did whatever research on Mr. Prabhad. He is from Uttarakhand, he is close to nature. He also has nature around his house. He has nature by way of owning 2 dogs. That's also part of nature. Anyway, the point over here is whenever we can have access to the heart consciousness, we expedite, we increase the supply of that energy which governs, which regulates our body, and which take it to a higher level. Means the regeneration of cells. Making of the new cells would be higher than the degeneration of cells, which is a part of process. As much a process, if I leave this pen, easily this pen is likely to go down. This pen will not remain in the air. Gravity will pull it down. So there's a law of gravity for other objects. There's a law of degeneration for our body. That's called entropy. That our body is constantly decaying, unless I support this pen and stop from falling. Unless I do many activities, as many as possible activities, which can reduce the process of the entropy, which can reduce the process of the degeneration or decaying process, and which is in our hand. And that's where the science is. Why I'm emphasizing the word science? Because this is now global. This is not one Mr. Rajivanan talking one corner of the room. That has to be taken in the gospel truth. No. Had that been so, then this wouldn't have been called science. Science is read it, listen to others, read about others, being practiced globally. And this is a bit unfortunate, which it's a bit sad, that we have so much of access, so much of easy access to the information or knowledge like this now, never before in the past. Now we have it. Yet we are scared of phase 4 or what's called COVID 4th stage, or we are scared of cancer, we are scared of heart problem. I myself post bypass, CABG, 9 years back, 2 angioplasty. I'm not scared. If tomorrow I have to die, I have to die. What can I do now? But by remaining scared, I'm expediting my ill health, my degeneration process. So few things which I have narrated now, few I would speak in my second round. I'm equally eager to listen to Prabhad, as well as to Gita, as well as to Vivek. And second round, we shall talk more about it. Back to you, Mr. Lal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajivanan. As Dr. Rajivanan mentioned, that this is something which is very age-old, and it's continuous process, the aging. And he says that people are afraid of the death because that is inevitable. But the aging, which we are also responsible, because we are overusing our body, our cells, and according to him, we have trillions of cells in our body. And those cells are dying. Like he gave a figure of 330 million cells are dying, and 3 million are being generated every moment. So according to Dr. Rajivanan, if we will not give some rest, and according to him, the best rest is 5 minutes close your eye, 5 minutes close your ear. Closing of ear means try not to listen anything. You should be in a, and then 5 minutes try not to move your body. And if it can be clubbed together, then you will get a complete rest. And which is, he also mentioned that many of our spiritual gurus in India is propagating this thing in different names of whether it's a transcendental meditation or param sukh or whatnot, they are giving in a different way. But the main thing is that you have to give the rest to your body so that the process can be delayed. It cannot be stopped. After all, it has to, those who have taken birth, they have to die because of the aging, but still you can delay it. And the delay can be done with these types of things, which he has explained. And I'm sure in the next round, he will explain more, because this interests everybody. Everybody knows that aging is there. And especially when you cross 50 or 60 years, then you feel that now the time is to take rest. Although people still say, abhi to dil jawan hai, but the body is not giving the support. And that is the reason Dr. Rajiv Anand explained that we must give rest to our body. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand, for giving your very, very specialized and knowledgeable views. I'm sure our viewers who are watching our show today will get a very good insight about the science of aging. Now, I would thank you, Dr. Rajivan. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Captain Prabhad Bhandari. Captain Prabhad Bhandari is the ex-captain of Merchant Navy. He is living in Mumbai and nowadays taking life in a slightly easier manner. He has spent 40 years in the shipping and logistic industry in international and national arena. After sailing as captain on ships of Japanese and Norway's nationalities for a long time, he was involved with logistics and commercial operations in Indian shipping industry. A keen fitness enthusiast, he likes to pursue interest in reading about personal finance every day, psychology, and practical life matters. Welcome, Captain Prabhat Bhandari on our show. Captain Prabhat Bhandari, you have heard what Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned, and he has mentioned many things technically, but in a very easy way, so that everyone person can understand. And he has also mentioned your name, that you are quite close to the nature and you love the nature. And your profile also says that you want to take the life very easy. Definitely, we would like to know your views on science of aging. Captain Prabhat Bhandari, please. Please unmute.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goel, and good morning to all my other panelists and viewers. So I would say, for a person who is not a public speaker like me, when he is asked to talk in public, it's a complicated matter. And this particular subject, science of aging, it is a complicated subject. So for me, I'm going to be talking about absolutely individually my take on it. The science of aging, gerontology, as it is called, I read it in the books, and the scientific part of it, I think I have to leave it to experts, the scientists and the medical profession. But I'm just going to have my view, a layman's view on it. The science of aging, the process of aging itself is a difficult process. It's a complicated process. And it is also more complicated because everybody is going through that process for the first time. And the only time, there is no retake. You start, getting old, and then you have to go and you have to make the best of it. And in that respect, I would take the liberty also of slightly deviating from the topic of just aging as a science, but I would say that a process of aging could also be easily merged as a science, an art, and possibly also philosophy. My view is going to be a combined view of all these three. So basically, what do you do? I mean, when you're aging, yes, all of us would like to continue remaining young forever. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Not even in the movies. So one has to say that how you can make the best use of it. And then you say that, fine, how you are going to make your own process worthwhile for your own good. What I have done and what I think is I need to see what is best for me. And that is what I try. So how do I go about it? I have a few points which I try to follow and see how I can make it good, how I can make it worthwhile and continue with this process. So my first point is that I would like to continue doing what I was doing 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago, 3 years ago, till whenever I can. So, if I was jogging 5 years ago, I would like to do that also today, maybe with a smaller or a shorter, time span. In this respect, what I'm doing is I am trying to continue what I was doing earlier. But in undergoing that process, you also have to, you have to also take into account the inevitability of, aging where you are. Everyone will age, everyone will go older. And that is something nobody can stop. You can only do what best you can to make it more enjoyable. And in that respect, I have figured out a few things where I say, first thing is get into a very, very set routine on a daily basis by which you are keeping yourself busy in constructive thoughts, constructive actions. Keep yourself occupied in constructive activities so that time doesn't hang heavy on your hand, which is the worst part, where if time is heavy on your hand, you start getting bored, and boredom leads to despondency, and the process of aging increases that much faster. So I feel that you have to get into a set routine, get into very, very important part of this is how to manage this is to get into physical and mental activities, get into exercising as much as you can to keep your body fit, do a bit of meditation, do a bit of yoga to keep your mind alive, your mental faculties alive, and to keep your mind calm. There are other things which, life by itself is not just a question of aging process, but you also have to take care of a lot of other things. The practical aspect of it is that you have to start saying that, yes, you have to take care of the practical aspect. So get your, get your paperwork in order, get your life in order, get all your paperwork in order so that you have made it easy for, for your family to come once you're gone. That's part of documentation. And I would also say that very, very important part is that you have to also take care of, you have to ensure that you are financially independent, financially secure. If you have financial security, the process of aging slows down by itself because you worry less. So as far as possible, try to be financially secure. It takes care of a lot of headache in real life. Other than that, I would say you have to try and do everything to indulge yourself. Now is the time, when you are aging and possibly looking at the final end of your life. You have to, if possible, indulge yourself, do things which you like, do things which you have probably not had time to do earlier. This is the time to do that. At least you feel nice, you feel young. Eat well, eat right, everything in moderation. Do things in moderation. That is a key to a very happy and satisfied kind of living. Dr. Rajiv Anand said, I will also say, about hobbies. People talk about hobbies. Yes, definitely. Inculcate some hobbies, try to follow your earlier hobbies, or get a new hobby, get busy, get something which interests you, and that you will find that the process of aging this is, slowing down, and you are enjoying your days. I also, recently we did a thing, we got ourselves two pets, very, very lovely pups. They're sleeping here right in front of me. And it's a world of difference. I mean, our life has changed. They are stress busters. And this is something what you need at this point, where you need to have lower levels of stress, more happiness, passing time in a constructive manner. These are the things which I would suggest. I would name this as the science of aging. And then with all these positives, there are a couple of don'ts which I would also advocate, which I follow. So one thing is, please, as far as possible, do not crib about your aches and pains, because nobody is interested in that. Nobody is interested in that. Don't talk about this has happened and that and this is paining and all, because people get really, really bored about it. Another thing which I have seen, which I take walks in the parks and all in the mornings, and I see a lot of groups who are trying to solve the entire world's political problems. Please don't do it. I don't do it. You can keep explicit comments to yourself, but the entire world is, nobody's interested in listening to your, and you cannot solve those problems anyway. So this is a kind of acceptance you have to bring into your being, and don't solicitate unwanted, unsolicited gyan. WhatsApp is full of those gyan, and so generally, I mean, try to make it easy for yourself and others around you. Don't impose your thoughts and your likes and dislikes on others. So that, I think, is a remedy for little easy kind of living. And that's what I mean by when I say that I'm taking a little bit easy. And yes, there is another don't. I mean, if you have a reasonable desire which has probably gone unfulfilled all through your life, please don't hold it back. Go for it. Get it done. This is the only chance you have. So, in all these things, so there's a couple of do's and a couple of don'ts. And I feel that this is the way, at least I am trying to go through this process of aging, and you can call it science, art, philosophy, but this is my take on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Captain Bhandari, for giving your views about the science of aging. And Captain Bhandari says first thing is that life should be disciplined. And being a captain, he knows the value of that discipline. But he says if your life is disciplined, you have to eat on time, you have to sleep on time. Everything, if you will do, definitely the body will be not aging as fast as when there is a indisciplined life. Secondly, try to not take unnecessary tension, which is very, very important. And he says the main tensions are the financial tensions. So if you have financial tension, then your aging process is very fast. If you don't have, then your aging will be slow. So he says that the tension should not be there. So try to keep all the paperwork ready so that tomorrow there will be no tensions for you. What will be the future if anybody will have any problems or anybody dies? So there should not be a problem for that. And he also mentioned very, very important thing today, and that is the WhatsApp university. He says try to avoid the WhatsApp universities. You cannot change the political scene or the country yourself, and unnecessary, try not to give your knowledge to others. Don't try to impose your knowledge to others. Keep yourself busy, but don't try to impose those things which are true or not true, but don't do it. But according to him, if you will take life easy, routine life, good life, walk, exercise, etc., and timely food, etc., then the aging process can be delayed and you can enjoy your life. And he says that I believe in that, Captain Bhandari believes in that, or the country, that life is to enjoy in a proper way. And that's why he says that is a science or a technology or a art or a philosophy. It is something which one has to enjoy. Thank you very much, Captain Bhandari, for giving your very, very enlightened views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Miss Geeta Gandhi. Miss Geeta Gandhi is the homemaker at Mumbai. She completed her graduation in home science, specializing in clothing and textiles from MS University, which gave her the knowledge and confidence to run a boutique after she got married. It was running successfully for 5 years, but she has to take a sabbatical after her second son was born due to commitments towards the family. Since spending her time for a cause was equally important, therefore she joined an NGO in intervention program with HIV positive individuals, which gave her immense satisfaction to work for the benefit of people who needed such services. But as personal priorities took the lead and demanded so, she had to give it up due to intense family issues. She is a homemaker now since then, keeping herself busy managing her home and family, and also traveling, reading, and socializing, which she loves to do. She feels at this stage doing what she wants to is a very important for each one of us if we are lucky to have this opportunity. Being a queen of her own life gives her a high, and she is elated that she can afford that. Welcome, Ms. Geeta Gandhi on our show. Ms. Geeta Gandhi, you have heard Dr. Rajiv Anand as well as Captain Prabhad Bhandari. Both have given their views. Dr. Rajiv Anand, more technical views in a very simple language, and Captain Bhandari gave his own experiences about the science of life, science of aging, sorry. So we would like to know now your views about the science of aging. Ms. Geeta Gandhi, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Lal Goel, for the brief introduction. So yes, Dr. Rajiv Anand spoke about the technical part of it, and Mr. Captain Prabhat, you said about other things that are important in life, which I agree to you also. Even in my beliefs, I believe to a lot of things that you say you should be done, because life is just not about, aging is not just about the body. So for me, aging, for me, for everyone, aging is inevitable, but how you can age gracefully is what is important. How you respond or react to the process of growing old. So aging is a privilege and nature's blessings that we are alive. Aging can be one of the most fascinating and liberating processes if we allow it to be. But for most of us, when we hear the word aging, we are perhaps engulfed by fear, by uncertainty, by negative thoughts. How do you overcome this? Do you try to look younger through beauty balms or fat diets? Aging, in my view, as Dr. Prabhat also said, is living your best life and having the physical and mental health to enjoy it to the fullest. It is more about leading a healthy lifestyle than keeping the wrinkles at bay. Whatever be the age, we all need to take good care of ourselves, our diet, hydrate well, exercise adequately, and so on. But the most important aspect is to accept the changes that are taking place. Finding meaningful activities to do, taking care of our mental health, keeping stress levels to the minimum, practicing mindfulness, and always being happy. I have experienced that low stresses and high happiness level goes a long way in helping you live and age well. In the early years of my life, I was not a happy person. I would cry for the tiniest of reasons and become sad for the silliest of situations. Accepting any change in my life was a Herculean task for me. And I got married in my early 20s. And in the first 20 years of my life, I changed 10 houses and 5 cities. So whether I liked it or not, this change was inevitable. I slowly began to realize that being miserable is not going to help me, neither my family. At this stage, I was introduced to the Chinmaya Mission Study Group, which proved to be a game changer for me. On this spiritual journey, I realized that being genuinely happy is the key to live and age well. What I discovered for myself and which resonated the most within is that happiness comes from within. Happiness does not depend on any external factor. It is a state of your inner well-being. I have found that negativity, anxiety, and such emotions bring you down badly. It is difficult to find your way back every time. Resilience reduces as age passes. For these kinds of negative feelings, yes, as we age, our resilience to these type of negative feelings does reduce. Just as I fully accepted the changing situations in my life, I accepted all the physical changes in my body too. I have gray-haired head, stretch marks, puffy eyes, all marks all over the body, etc. As I said before, aging is inevitable and learning to embrace it makes all the difference to oneself. Forging or developing meaningful relationships and a strong and warm social network also helped me improve my mental and physical well-being and longevity. I always try to engage in activities that I enjoy the most and that fuels my happiness. I always make myself readily available for the people around me, and that gives me tremendous happiness and satisfaction. I firmly believe that the world needs more people to build each other up instead of tearing them down. I am careful about my diet and do follow some form of an exercise regime, which is quite regular. Almost 4 years back, I decided to go all grey. And that namak or kali mirch look that you see. These amazing greys have made me a head turner, much to my amazement and amusement. I keep myself physically active and keep my stress levels low. So while we take care of our health and our bodies, it is important not to be obsessed with it. I treat every problem as a situation. I strongly believe that whatever comes to me is what I deserve and I'm supposed to receive. I accept everything as a prasad in my life. Another very important aspect of aging well is to sleep. I need my 8 hours of sleep daily. I practice mindfulness by living in the present, making the most of this moment and accepting it unconditionally. There are a few value systems that help me living a full life. The two important ones that I would highlight here: keeping an honest and open communication line with all the people in my life. I firmly believe that communication helps in resolving a situation most effectively, and maintaining and giving importance to my relationships is paramount. I have learned to submerge my ego, sometimes even swallow it like a bitter pill. And the result has always been gratifying. I sleep easier and the relationship gets stronger. Yes, at times if I feel that somebody is taking me for granted or that relationship is not leading anywhere, I may distance myself or even bring a closure. But such instances are very, very few. And last but not the least, I am a homemaker, just a housewife. I was quite fed up of hearing this all the time. Thankfully, things are changing today, and the care work that women do, whether they have a professional career or not, is being recognized at all levels, including by policymakers. Yes, I did go through the self-doubt of not doing anything, but my husband, my in-laws, and my inner circle of friends made me realize that we are not just the housewives, but we are human resource developers. I am of equal importance to the society or the economy as a working person is. So this change or shift in mindset that I brought about and accepted. As I keep telling my friends, I am the queen of my queendom. The size of the queendom does not matter. What matters is to own oneself and one's identity. Create your own path and walk on it fiercely as a Rani. Your queendom awaits you. This is true for everyone. I hope that my thoughts and experiences I have shared with you all today may resonate at some level. The easiest thing in the world is to be happy, if only we allow ourselves to be. I will end with a few lines from a poem I came across on the internet. So feel proud when you say how old you are. It's a testimony to all your struggles and mini awards. Now it's a shame if we say age is just a number, because it's another chance at life's adventure. You see, eventually everything becomes old. So while you are at it, let's try to grow old. Let's live a life creating many, many stories to be told. Let's look forward to growing old. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Geeta Gandhi, for giving your personal views, personal experiences about the science of aging. And she rightly said one thing, the happiness, the key of aging, science of aging is happiness. As Captain Bhandari mentioned, how to be well disciplined and exercise, etc. But the key is the happiness. Whether if you are happy, if you are mentally satisfied, definitely the aging will not be that troublesome. Rather, if you are enjoying, then there is no problem. And according to Ms. Geeta Gandhi, there is no shame to say that how old you are, because it's an experience. And if it's a happy life, then there is no problem. And she has narrated her own things, how she felt so much scared initially and how much cranky she used to be. But now she has changed a lot, and she has found that the life is very full of happiness if we try to mold ourselves in that way. Thank you very much, Ms. Geeta Gandhi, for giving your views on the science of aging. Now, I would like to invite my last but not the least panelist guest with us, and he is Mr. Vivek Joshi. Mr. Vivek Joshi is the director, A. Joshi Strategy Consultants Private Limited. Mr. Vivek Joshi has more than 30 years of international management experience in several functions and industries. He is the author of a book, Startup to Scale Up, Entrepreneur's Guide for Venture Capital, and several publications listed at expertstart.com, publications, videos, etc. He is an alumnus of IIT Bombay, University of South Florida, and IIM Ahmedabad. He is a visiting faculty at business schools and invited speaker on several topics. His interests include yoga and geopolitical studies. Welcome, Mr. Vivek Joshi, on our show. Mr. Joshi, you have heard Dr. Rajiv Anand, Captain Bhandari, as well as Ms. Gandhi. They have given their views in a different aspect, although the goal is same, but their approach is different. Although Dr. Rajiv Anand has mentioned the technical side, but Captain Bhandari and Ms. Gandhi has given their views. We would like to know, being such a highly educated and a person who has been educated in almost the top universities, not only India or but in the world, and with such experience, definitely we would like to know your views on the science of aging. Mr. Vivek Joshi, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel, and good morning to all the panelists. After so much of wisdom has been shared, so what I'm about to say will probably sound more practical and more simpler. But first of all, I don't like the word aging. You know, aging to me sounds passive. It is as if time is doing something to you. I would rather use the word maturing. It is something more. It shows what you are contributing or what benefits you yourself have. So let's say we are not aging, we are maturing. Therefore, what is it that we bring to the table as people who are maturing? Now, first of all, before we do anything, we need to make sure that we ourselves are, as they say, healthy. Now, Doc has covered a lot of the mental aspects. Let me just emphasize some of the physical aspects. It's very important to keep up with regular exercise. You know, I have two friends. Both of them got heart attacks and bypass surgeries. One took up running after the bypass, the other took up mountaineering. And the chap who started running now runs a 42-kilometer marathon. So the mind-body connection, if you keep your body young, your mind remains young. If you keep your mind young, your body remains young. Just make sure that you don't hurt yourself, because with time, the process of recovery takes longer, and there is nothing which slows you down than bad health. So good health is extremely important, mental and physical, and there's really nothing which can substitute that. Now, moving from health, the other thing which comes is that as maturing people, we have seen a lot of cycles in our life. And that is something which we can contribute to the world. In fact, that is something which no one who is younger to us anywhere in the world, even if he's the president of USA or prime minister of India, has the same thing as someone who has experience, if that person is younger. So what you have is contributing your experience and contributing your advice. Don't be a preacher. People will themselves come to you for advice. People who are younger don't like to be told what to do. People who are younger want to learn from your experience. So be willing to share your experience when asked, but do not preach. Do not try to tell them what to do. That's so it is useful then to sit back periodically and go over your life. And by periodically, I mean you could do it once in 3 years, you could do it in once every year, depending on how you want it, as to what you have learned in your life and how that is relevant. A simple 2-3 page write-up will do. I keep encouraging my friends to write books. I write book. I've written one book, not books. I write a book and papers, so that whatever is there with me remains for the world to use or to not to use as they want. So be willing to share more of this. It also keeps you mentally young when you do these kind of things. The next thing, since I've been connected with the financial services industry, the biggest mistake which maturing people do is they do not plan for their financial future. Keep in mind one thing, that if in inflation, you can pick out a number of your choice, runs at 5 or 5.5% per year. Your savings bank interest is not going to give you that interest, and therefore your interest rate is negative. The other thing to keep in mind is that even if inflation runs at 5 to 5.5, healthcare related inflation runs at 10% plus per annum. And so it's imperative to start doing your financial planning from the age of 50 onwards. Build in major healthcare expenditure every 3 to 4 years at an inflation of 10% per year. And your yearly planning at 5 to 5.5% of inflation. It is not very difficult to do. Once you do it, it takes half an hour of updating every year, not more than that. Because by the time you're 50, your expenses are fairly clear. One practice which I've tried to do at every stage in my life is make 15-year plans ahead. So these plans can be annual. So to try and, children's education, my kids are not married, children's education, their marriage, etc. But build in enough provisions for healthcare. Realize one thing, that your life now is going to outlast your savings. Given the progress in medical technology and how people are remaining healthy. Now, if you're going to rely on your savings sitting in a bank or in FDs, you are likely to run into trouble. So you have to do asset allocation. The earlier you start, the better. You start at 19 years of age, wonderful. If not, as they say, when you do systematic investment plans, the best time to start an SIP was 20 years back. The second best time is today. So I would strongly suggest you do an asset allocation, allocate something to equities, do something for debt mutual funds, fixed income, which is your interest, etc., real estate, and gold. Because otherwise, there is nothing worse than running out of money while you are still alive. One thing to remember in this hyper-connected world is that we are bombarded with a lot of information. Now, when we look at this, there is, sociologists say that there is a continuum from
नमस्कार, आप देख रहे हैं कारू न्यूज़, आपके साथ मैं हूं श्रुति श्रीवास्तव.
As you are maturing, you should be contributing more of knowledge and wisdom. Now, wisdom comes a little more with difficulty to people. I doubt if I will ever have wisdom, but that's a different thing. At least one can have knowledge. And information becomes knowledge when you, of the other things, you also learn to appreciate the context and the history. And maturing people have a much better understanding of history than those who are younger. Therefore, we who are maturing are in a position to see a broader perspective of things, both time-wise as well as in other aspects. And it is important in this day and age of information overload. The other thing I would emphasize is that, there's a very good book called Factfulness, and it's humorous also. I would recommend that people read it. He has shown data saying that the conclusions that the media leads you to are actually diametrically opposite from what reality is. This world is much better, and human condition is much better than what it has ever been. And therefore, that is something to feel positive about. And positivity is good because positivity should spread. So our parents did a wonderful job in giving a world better than what they received. We are doing a wonderful job in handing over humanity, as and when we hand over humanity to the people who come after us than it has ever been. I would strongly suggest that those who feel that the world is overcome with violence and terrible things, read this book, Factfulness. There's a second book you can read called Abundance, which shows how good the human condition today is. So that is in terms of feeling good about it. The next thing is realize that technology is a force which is going to accelerate. And while technology will keep on becoming more complex because of something called convergence, the use of technology will become easy as long as you are willing to use it. Because people will give you these interfaces, application processing interface on your mobile, etc. It's very important, and I see that in people who are older with me, that there is a lethargy and inertia towards technology. Now, if you're going to do that and you are still in this world, you're getting out of touch with the world. What is worse, you're getting out of touch with people who are much better in touch with technology, and that includes a lot of people who are younger. So one way to relate to the young and therefore to the world is to be comfortable with technology. You don't have to be an expert as to how the Windows, Microsoft coding works, but you should be able to use these things and use some of these other things which come about. Now, in terms of so that's one aspect is technology. The other aspect is in the corporate world, it is always said that try and dress 1 to 2 work levels about your work level, because you're trying to show that you are good enough to be moved to that other work level. It is said, that when you are promoted, you must grow into that job. So you must act as if you are in that job. What you have to do in your job, in your career, etc., of course, one has to. But it is, if you want to be able to relate to people, it is important that they do not feel that you are either a victim or you're obsessed with your age or your maturity. So my recommendation and feeling is that once you cross a certain stage in life, and other than at work, you have to do what you have to do, dress 5 to 10 years younger than what you are. One of the things which I've always felt very disappointed at seeing my uncles and aunts, and in some ways my parents, is, "Arey bhai, why do you dress like this? Wear a colorful sari if you're wearing a sari. Why do you have to wear a drab kurta or a shirt? You can as well wear a nice colorful shirt." People will relate a little bit more to you if you are willing to show that you are younger. It's okay. It's good to be comfortable with your body, because your body will do what it needs to. But no harm in using a face cream. Look attractive. We should not be worried about what others feel about us. But if the opposite gender is giving you a second look, that means there is something still good with you. And remember, you feel mentally good, you feel physically good, the two will reinforce each other. Don't be obsessed with what others do. One of the things of maturing is that one is not obsessed with the views and opinions of others. But nevertheless, that doesn't mean that you do a disservice to yourself. I always, I play tennis, and quite often I get hurt and come back with aching back of limbs, and I get a firing at home from my wife. So I always tell her कि भाई जवान आदमी को पीछे क्यों खींचते हो? You should be telling me to do more things like that. Now, what is there for you to hold me back? So her answer, of course, is I have to get you that cream and the ointment and do this. But that's fine. So do things which you want to. Obviously, at any stage in life, whether you're young or old, you should not overdo. I would suggest spend a lot of time developing something creative within yourself. And to that extent, I have not been fully successful myself in doing so. Now, reading is a wonderful hobby, but remember that reading is passive. Doing yoga is great because doing yoga is active. One of the reasons why I started writing was so that I do something a little more creative. Now, my creative is also a little more left-brained than what I would like to be. But I'm not going to be a Picasso or a Ravi Shankar ever in my life. But so I try and do my creativity in some of these aspects. But I do realize that in another 5 years, I will have to build up a little bit more on my right brain creative things, which means painting. I have just started taking some music lessons. Some of the good things of this lockdown and work from home was that it gave you flexibility in time. I just started taking some music lessons. It's a torture for my family members, my music, but okay. I mean, they can put up with 30 minutes of torture from me at some time. So the other aspects which I would say is, and I saw this with my mother, that fortunately she never got any serious disease, but mentally she stopped doing things like arithmetic, etc. So one of the exercises I used to, and she was quite elderly, I'm the youngest child. So one of the things I used to do is ask her to do simple arithmetic puzzles that count backwards from 20 to 1. Addition is easy. Subtraction is a little more difficult. Division is a lot more difficult. So I used to ask her to do division. So just so that her gray cells in our brain work. One of the advantages of maturing is that one develops intuition. Now, this is again something which people who are younger will not have as good as a person who's more mature will have. Now, it's important that intuition not be stretched too much. Intuition should depend on experience or expertise. There's little point in my saying that I have an intuition on what is going to happen with the COVID virus. But in the things that you have experience of, you have something which the PhD from Harvard and MIT will not have, and that is intuition. So you are in a position to contribute to the world through your intuition also, and make sure you do that. So these are the points that I have in mind. Exercise, try and stretch yourself in terms of exercising in what you can do. Keep yourself mentally agile through certain simple things. maintain your physical health, because you become a burden on people around you when your health goes down. And therefore, don't, to the extent that one can, maintain your physical health. Do financial planning, and remember one thing, that you are likely to outlive your savings. Be comfortable with technology. That's how the world will relate to you. And one last thing, one of the ways I've found, which is relating to younger people, I've always felt that teachers tend to age very slowly. And that is because not only are they sharing their learning, they are also continuously in touch with young people. So to share your learning, first of all, you have to not only understand what you have learned, you have to be able to synthesize what you have learned into something which is deliverable. So it requires an effort. It's said that knowledge flows through being tacit knowledge to explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge gets transferred to the recipient, which then becomes tacit knowledge with the recipient. So teaching brings you much more in touch with refining your knowledge. It keeps you in touch with the younger generation and what they want. And the younger generation hates studying from books. They have to, they don't have a choice. But one thing I found when I go to college is that they want to learn from experience. That we want experience. So they really welcome older people with experience coming and talking to them, whether it's engineering, management, or whatever, whichever. So try and get into this area of teaching. It gets into whichever subject you do, it gets you into touch with a lot of overall. That's about all that I have to say. Back to you, Mr. Goel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vivek Joshi, for giving your views. And Mr. Vivek Joshi has given his views. And he first said that the aging is a not correct word. It should be maturity. And then he mentioned about the mind-body connections, which he says is very, very important for the good health. And he says you must share your experience if somebody asks for it, otherwise not to be preacher. He also mentioned about the financial planning, which he emphasized more. He says it should not happen that at one time you will be short of cash or money, and that time you will be in a now, because he says that we should not use the word aging. It means you will become over mature or not mature. That he will clarify, and then when I will ask the question to him next. But he says technology, which is very important, that if you want to remain young, you must know to use the technology. So you will be in touch, you will be seeing. You should not be expert, but at least you should know how to handle the technological devices. And one very important point which he has mentioned about the dress senses. He says, wear good dresses. Why you want to show yourself very old? You should wear colorful dresses and always be smart. Like Dr. Rajiv Anand, he always, sometimes I envy with him that he always, and it's a very good thing. I was not knowing that it is also connected with the aging or maturity. So I will also now try to be dressed like this. But one thing which he has also said, try to share your learning. And that is very important. He says that's why the aging process in the teachers are not that much faster experience. They are always connected with the youth. Thank you and knowledge. Now I would like to go to our panelists for asking some questions. My first question goes to Dr. Rajiv Anand. Dr. Rajiv Anand, you said 5 minutes no hearing, no seeing, and 5 minutes no moving. So it's like a meditation, and which all those you have also mentioned. If you remember, because you belongs to the place called Mathura Vrindavan, you know we used to have Devra Baba. And this is Kaya Kalp hua unka, and his age was at that time was termed as more than 400 years. Do you think is it possible if we do it properly, knowing that meditation, and we can also cross 100 years or 200 years? Is it possible, or it's all myth? Dr. Rajivan.
Thank you for bringing this question to the vote. This is possible. Any machinery these days does have a user's manual. human life, human body also had user's manual by way of scriptures, by way of many religious, whatever we call it religious, even though I prefer calling it spiritual. And I prefer not calling it spiritual as frequently as I prefer calling scientific. Because everything which was spiritual was scientific. We lost hold on it, or we allowed many mediators or many in-between people to repack it and sell it in a distorted version. Mr. Lal, just to remind you that during my last earlier talk, I never mentioned the word meditation.
No, you have not mentioned. I'm using the word.
Because I'm reasonably cautious about not using the word meditation, because meditation word has been taken out of context by every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Even people who have not passed even 10th class, they are meditation gurus. Or even people who are 18-year-old, they try to teach me meditation when I am 68, 50 years ahead of them. But the meditation word has been taken to be totally out of context. Let's not discuss that. We shall have a full debate on that. The scientific aspect of it is, if you have a body which has its own reasonable complexities, you also have been given enough tools inside you to manage it. I would just give me a minute more to describe two things more. One, Vivek has triggered that point, which I was about to forget. As long as you are growing, as long as you are learning and growing are two sides of the same coin. I read a lot on this topic. As long as we are learning, we are growing. Moment we stop learning, we stop growing. And both are inseparable aspects of the same coin. For teachers, doctors, professionals, including Mr. Joshi, Mr. Lal, hats off to you for the last 2 years, you're growing. Had you not been doing media workshop like the way we are doing it every day, you would have been lying on the bed at the moment, having a third or fourth cup of tea. You wouldn't have been growing. But today you have so many topics over the last 2 years. So many topics, 600, 700 topics we have discussed on that. Second part, I would say that we are totally inattentive or careless about 5 aspects of our life. One is thinking, which is in discipline. We need to regulate it. We think for everybody else around us. वो क्या सोचता होगा? वो क्या सोचता होगा? Putin क्या सोचता होगा? Biden क्या सोचता होगा? As if we have been given sole content to think about 100,000 other people. Sorry, regulate your own thinking. Then breathing, which is the connectivity with the cosmic world, cosmic energy, divine forces. We allow our breathing to get disturbed and go disarray by everything happening around us. Oh my God. Or so on and so forth. Many ways we allow our breathing to go totally out of our control, and we suffer many diseases and old age. Third is eating. What goes inside us, if it is not in my control, then I would be lying in a bed in the hospital helplessly. And then I would realize, oh my God, I should have been cautious about what to eat, what not to eat. Fourth is sleeping. How much sleep I deserve. I was happy to hear from Gita. 8 hours sleep is a must for every one of us who has reached beyond 50 years of age. So sleeping, regulated sleeping, sound sleeping, deep sleeping, relaxed sleeping, REM sleep, when you can get rejuvenated, refreshed. And the fifth is talking. Most of us talk a lot of nonsense more than the sense. Most of us talk just for the sake of talking. Most of us do not know what to talk, where to talk, when not to talk. So these 5 things, sleeping, talking, thinking, breathing, and eating, need to be brought under regulation. And we have been given enough to control them, to live longer, happily and healthily. Back to you, Mr. Lal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anand, for giving 5-point formula for the maturity, I must say, not the aging, as Mr. Vivek Joshi says. But it's a very good thing. If we will follow those, we can. Thank you very much. Now, my next question goes to Captain Bhandari. Captain Bhandari, you have mentioned, you have given all your own routine, as well as you mentioned many things. And we talk about healthy food, as Dr. mentioned, Rajiv Anand also mentioned about what we are eating. But we have seen now the condition of food due to the pollution or using this fertilizer, etc., is going down. But we are seeing the lifespan, the aging in India is increasing from last 50 years or 100 years. Why it is so? If the quality of food is going down and our eating habits, youngsters, even if we say that those who are nowadays in 40 or 50, they started using all junk food, but their longevity is increasing. Why it is so, Captain Bhandari? Please unmute.
Mr. Goel, very good question. Also very practical, in present day circumstance. So I would say eating right is the key for longevity. And you said that, the quality of food is going down, and but still the longevity is increasing. I would tend to disagree here, because I think the quality of food is definitely going up. Also, the biggest thing is that the awareness about what we are eating is increasing, even in the younger crowd today. So we've always had, in Indian food, it used to be always fried stuff, and I think that was one of the biggest disadvantages, And how many times do you have fried stuff? I don't. We don't have fried stuff. And when I talk to so many people around me, the wrong kind of food. An occasional samosa is fine. It's okay. I also love it.
Okay. So, but what you are saying is a bit quite debatable thing, that Indian food versus. But we will take this topic also sometime. Thank you very much, Captain Bhandari. Now my question goes to Ms. Geeta Gandhi. You mentioned about the life full of, but the tension and stress what we have. Even everyone is having, as Mr. Vivek Joshi said, that it has to be so. How we can mature or aging to comfortably with such type of tensions or stress which we are facing today in our country, at least in India, because earlier we used to have a joint family and everything we shared, but now the nuclear family, we have to face all those tensions solo or alone. So what you say about this?
Yes, so Dr. Lal, I agree, we all have stress and tensions in life. But the key to is how we deal with it. Okay, we don't have joint families anymore, but I'm sure we all have set of friends, our children, our near and dear ones whom we can share our stresses with. But people have become very secretive. They want to keep everything within. Till you don't open up and have an open communication, like I said in my talk, it's not going to help.
Okay.
So how truthful you are to yourself is the key to it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gandhi. Now my question goes to Mr. Vivek Joshi. Mr. Vivek Joshi, aging or maturity, whatsoever is demographic. I will give you an example that in India, in the year 2019, the age limit, the maximum is average age, you can say, the 69.66 years. While in USA, it was 78.79 in the same year. And UK, it was 81.20 year. So why it is happening in India, where we are with so much contents, joint family, meditation, and I will not use the word meditation, but all those things we are having, the temples or mosques, everything, religion. So why, Mr. Joshi?
Both in answer to this question and in general, it's important that data points not be seen in isolation. Now we are saying India is at 69 years, yes. But India in the 1900, the lifespan was 27 years. At independence, it was 37, 38 years. Now today, India is at 69 years. So one reason is obviously medical care and this, which is why I said the human condition today is much better than it has ever been. We have almost eliminated hunger. If you leave COVID out, we have almost eliminated hunger, but not undernutrition. We'll get there. We have doubled our almost increased lifespan by 80%. The Americans and the Britishers haven't done so in the last 50 years.
Okay.
We are catching up with them.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Joshi. So viewers, you have seen today the science of aging. All our experts have given their views, very interesting views. Many of from when I send the flyer, I received the messages. What is the science of aging? We have heard aging, but not the science of aging. I am sure today they got the answer. What is the science of aging or maturity? But one thing is very clear. If your life is disciplined, if you will take time, your decisions at right time, whether it's a financial planning, whether it's a healthy eating, habits or exercises, or I will not say the word meditation, but whatsoever, to keep aloof from the worldly, like WhatsApp, universities, etc., and try to engage your mind in a positive direction, then the aging or the maturity will be increased. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Caru News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor to bring to you everyday new topic in media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Tomorrow being Friday, and it's always a youth day, but being tomorrow we are doing our second global youth conclave, and tomorrow is the topic is global youth conclave on international exams. As we know, all our students, although it's unfortunate about the Ukraine, but all our students are going, youth are going abroad, and they have to give some exams, different exams, to get the admission in the different universities. So tomorrow we are going to discuss with our 2 chief guests, as well as 9 youth guests who are joining from different parts of the world. Our chief guests are Father Salim Joseph, Advocate, Director, Edu Skill International, Nelyadi, and Mr. Avinash Kumar, Business Solution Architect, MHK Incorporation, Florida, USA. And our youth guests are joining Miss Regina from UAE, Sarah Paul, Kuwait, Celine Oman, CG Thomas, Kuwait, Shinnojoy, Abu Dhabi, Rejani Biju, India, Soumya Sham, Maldives, Shalini Fernandez, India, and Jitti Augustine from Riyadh. So tomorrow it will be a global youth conclave on international exams. So please tune in tomorrow at morning media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajiv Anand. Thank you very much, Captain Prabhad Bhandari. Thank you very much, Ms. Gita Gandhi. And thank you very much, Mr. Vivek Joshi, for enlightening all of us about the science of aging. And thank you all the viewers for watching our show.